I'm Liz Scissors. And today we're going to talk a little bit about clipping and clipper work. So there are rules of thumb on how you want to clip a dog, what direction, and how to do it. What you want to do is make sure that you have the appropriate blade, obviously, and you're ready to go. Your dog is completely prepped, mat-free, especially if you're going to be doing a longer haircut or even a pattern haircut. Make sure you've prepped your canvas properly ahead of time before you actually start your clipper work. Making sure that you have some kind of sound going on in the background really helps dogs that are nervous. So if you have a dog that is very hyperactive or fixates or is very nervous on the table, making sure there's some music in the background really can help kind of bring down the fixation as to what are you doing to me next and what's happening next. So make sure you have some music playing. Once you've got your dog ready to go and you're ready to start clipping your dog, everybody's got a little bit different routine on their table and how they do things. But today we're focusing on just the clipper work. So clippers, professional clippers, even at-home clippers, are designed for different purposes, meaning some motors on them are designed to power through anything out there. Some motors are not. So make sure that you are picking the appropriate clipper to the breed of the dog that you have. And what I mean by that is that if you have a thin coated dog or you have a sparsely coated dog, it's not going to require as heavy duty or as fast powered of a motor in its clipper as opposed to breeds that have dense undercoat, dogs that just have thick or coarse hair. It can be more challenging for the blade to actually cut through the hair. So make sure you've got the right clippers. When you go to clip your dog, you're going to start with the starting point of your haircut, which typically is going to be right behind the back of the ears or the occiput. You start your pattern. If you're doing an all over trim or even a shorter on the back trim or a blended down the sides trim, doesn't matter. Start the dog the same way every single time. I start right at the back of the head if I am not leaving a crest on the dog. One thing to keep in mind is that think of it like mowing a lawn. You want long, smooth strokes. You want to take as few as possible. The more you do, the more times you lift your clipper and bring it back down, the less it's going to match and the more fixing you have to go back over and do. The other thing is to make sure that you are handling your clippers appropriately. You are not pushing and you are not forcing anything. And the reason you don't want to do that is, number one, you are going to bog down the strokes per minute on your clipper because it can't handle it, and so it won't cut appropriately. You also are going to end up tracking really, really badly, or it just won't work at all. Or if there's a mole or a growth on the dog and you are pushing and forcing, you're not going to be able to tell that there's something underneath there. So make sure you have a light clipper hand. Also, they're balanced. Their weight is balanced so that it is appropriate to do its job. So you don't really need to put any force into it. However, stretching the skin when you clip is appropriate. So make sure that you are stretching the skin where you're going to work, and you're going to use long, smooth strokes. And then you're going to go over your lines smoothly. Stretch and lift that skin, which will stretch and lift that hair. And make sure you are following the growth pattern of every dog. Stand away coats like this, you can go pretty much any direction and it doesn't track because the hair stands away from the body. But every other breed that doesn't stand away has a growth pattern. You don't want to go across that pattern or it will leave clipper marks that are take more time to erase. So make sure you're following the natural lie of the dog. Typically they go straight down the back, they come straight down the front shoulder, they come at an angle down the rib cage. So if you come straight up and down or you go straight sideways, you are going to cross-cut that hair and it's more likely that you're going to end up leaving track marks. So you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you're coming with the natural growth pattern. Once you get back to the hip area, it comes back down, straight up and down. So pay attention to the lie of the coat. Use your clippers in the appropriate direction. If you decide you want to, for one reason or another, you want to go against the grain, keep this in mind. You can go against the grain. It is not recommended. It's not great for their hair and their skin. You can agitate the follicles and really create issues. However, some people have to in certain areas just to kind of lift that coat. And what you're doing is you are guiding the hair now up into the blade instead of it being pushed away. So you really are going to guide it up, and it's going to go 2 blades shorter than the blade that you actually have. So keep that in mind. If you are going with the grain and you reverse it, you're now going 2 blade lengths shorter. So make sure you pay attention to that, as well as you now have to reverse the pattern. So if you're reversing, you have to make sure you're going up, and you would have to make sure you're coming up in a pattern and you're going straight up. Otherwise, it is going to end up being an issue because it's going to cross cut again. So make sure you're not pushing too hard. If the dog is trying to move away from you, that's a problem. Do not push. Make sure you're just using the clippers, letting them do their job. Go with the lie of the coat, and remember that this is scary, so go slow and go easy and lift that skin up in the area you're going to work on, and you'll have a much smoother clipper. Thank you. Did he just bite at the bee?
Yes.
Don't bite at the bee. For more information about me, check out lizsizzers.com, and I hope to see you on the next one.